Welcome back to Secure the Deed podcast. I am your host, Laisha Bailey, president of the Greater Cleveland Realtors Association. And today we are talking with Chanel Starks from LISC Cleveland. We're going to be talking about some resources and programming to help you on your housing journey. So I am going to introduce our guest. Well, actually, I'm going to let her introduce herself so you can get to know her. Welcome, Chanel. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you, Laisha. Thanks for having me on the podcast today. Again, I am Chanel Starks. I am the Senior Program Officer for Cleveland's Office of Local Initiative Support Corporation. I have been with LISC a little over a year. I have had a background in affordable housing for 20 plus years. And my career has just been around housing and affordable housing.
Well, thank you, and bringing your wealth of knowledge to the people. So, over 20 something years in affordable housing. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey, what things you have covered, and how you're bringing that to LISC at the current time?
Absolutely. I started out as a leasing consultant in my very early years, transitioning from working with the city of Cleveland and being a teen mom and attending college. It was a really good job. I love what I did. I think I realized at an early age that I wanted to help people and be in a field of customer service. And I started off doing leasing. Then I got promoted to a property manager.
Okay.
And from there, it was history. My background stems from, procurement to compliance and regulation to inspection standards. I have a pretty deep background with HUD regulation.
Okay.
So bringing my skill set to LISC Cleveland, being the senior program officer over housing, it was very complimentary to my skill set. So when I kind of saw the job description, I said, housing, it's a different side of housing because it provides more programming.
Sure.
But it aligns with, my goals and my mission and aspirations behind my career choices.
Absolutely. Same thing. Prior to record, we kind of talked and chatted, and we kind of have similar journeys, been in the nonprofit housing space, both real estate professionals, but also having that passion for people. So again, just able to connect with you and LISC. I know when you talked about your journey, I heard some things about, going from leasing, and also you're working on things from homeownership. And we know that homeownership is a journey, right? You don't always start out being able to go into the process looking to purchase a home, but also there are things that we need to do to secure safe and affordable housing, even for people who are currently renting, to ensure that they can become homeowners and have security in taking those steps. So tell us a little bit about LISC and what you're currently doing around programming for people who are currently renters, who may be looking to get into the homeownership journey, and some of the things that you have for people who are homeowners who may need some help along the way.
Absolutely. Yeah. So for those who may not know us, LISC is a national nonprofit, one of the oldest and largest community development organizations, with a mission to connect communities to capital and resources that people need to thrive. So one of our pillars that we focus on, the foundation of LISC, is housing. So basically, nationwide, we deliver grants, loans, equity, and capacity building support to under-resourced communities. Okay. We have 37 local markets nationwide and a rural program. Our affiliates are Broad Street Fund Management and National Equity Fund. And our 10 program areas that we do concentrate on address all the building blocks for community well building.
Okay.
So here in Cleveland, we work with residents, we work with developers, community partners, investors, to make the mission real by focusing on housing, economic development, workforce development, neighborhood investment. So we're able to build a better economy for our region and its residents.
Sure.
So right now, in partnership, we look to assist residents around preservation and continuing the cycle of generational wealth. So one of the programs that we do have around the preservation of homes is a home repair program in collaboration with the City of Cleveland, Key Bank, LISC Cleveland, and Cleveland Housing Partners.
Okay.
So we have a fund where we're looking to assist at least 80 households with essential home repairs, understanding that the City of Cleveland most recently introduced its lead orders. We do prioritize lead first.
Okay.
Understanding a lot of our housing stock was built, prior to January 1st, 1978.
Yep.
We do understand the safety and the hazards around lead, and we want to make sure that, our kids are living and playing in safe environments.
Sure.
So, we recently launched our home repair program, which is called Renew 216, earlier this week.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you. Again, we have slots for 80. We have a list that we've done preliminary intake on. It's been a very overwhelming process, but a very good overwhelming process because our housing stock is so old. And we know that the maintenance has been deferred on a lot of them.
Absolutely.
And dealing with the economic times we have people living from, paycheck to paycheck. They have to, prioritize what they're doing. So we were very excited to be able to collaborate on this partnership, to be able to provide these resources to residents in the City of Cleveland. They can get eligible repairs around, roofing, foundational issues, HVAC, plumbing.
So the major mechanics.
Major mechanicals. And it's also a good program to assist our senior population who want to age in place and help them with any accessibility modifications that they may need.
Okay.
So it's a really good program. We're excited to introduce it to the community. Again, we launched this week. There is no waiting list. We have about 44 residents who've already signed up for the program.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We've done a lot of outreach. One of our outreach partners is Burton Bell Carr.
Okay.
So we know that.
And let them know what community they serve.
Burton Bell Carr serves the Kinsman area community, Centro, and I think parts of like the Shaker Square area. We know that we're not the individuals that live in the community or touch and feel the residents in the community. So partnering with a Burton Bell Carr, a Fairfax, a Union Miles, it's very important because the community see those individuals daily. So when they're looking to verify that these resources are actually real, those are the boots on the ground that we need to make sure that they're providing that education and community awareness.
Absolutely.
So they have been a great partner, helping, door knocking, passing out flyers, hosting clinics, getting the folks in the door to, hear what it is that we have to say, hear what it is that we have to offer. So it's actually been great working on this side of programming and housing because I am able to give the community resources that we know that it needs to be better invested in and to be able to better strive.
Yes. Well, first, congratulations for launching your Renew 216.
Yes.
Program because it is very much needed. I know just being a Cleveland resident and again, Cleveland practitioners in real estate and housing profession, one of the things that's always talked about is, development, but our community really has a older housing issue and then also the availability to get capital and funds to make those repairs. So a program like you all have kind of meets people in the gap. And to your point, using community partners who are in the community that people can get to helps to make sure that those funds actually get into the hands of the people that needs it. Because a lot of times, a lot of people always say, I didn't know about that. I didn't know about that. I didn't know I was able to even afford or apply for that. So speaking of that, can you let the people know just a little bit about what are the kind of qualifications that you need to apply? Are there income guidelines? Anything like that may be useful to them so they understand when they reach out to LISC Cleveland to try to get enrolled in that program because they want their porch fixed or their roof looked at to be fixed and things like that, what do they need to have in order to qualify? And what are some of the guidelines that you have for the program?
Absolutely. So for most of our programming, we touch the 80% AMI or below.
Okay.
So
And that's
for
area median.
median income. So for a household of one, it's roughly like $56,000
Okay.
that they would need to be under to qualify. Home repair, of course, you need to be owner occupant,
Okay.
single or double, at least residency for 6 months, current on your taxes or on a payment plan,
Okay.
credit score, because our product is for home repair is a hybrid grant and loan product.
Okay.
So if we're able to get you approved for 25,000, 50% of that would be in the form of a free grant. So you're able to get $25,000 worth of repairs done to your home, only have a payment of, depending on your grant amount, let's just go with the max, $12,500, $125, 0% interest
Wow.
for 10 years.
Okay.
It's an excellent product,
That's
probably
excellent.
one of the only
excellent.
products that's out here that does not have a interest rate attached to
Yeah.
it. So we've gained, like I said, a lot of momentum around our home repair hybrid program. We're excited to see the outcomes and just excited to see that it's launched. We are hoping that we'll start reporting some statistics
Yeah.
and do a really, really big launch around it once we close on our first couple loans.
Okay.
So there's more to come. So please stay tuned.
We will. We're going to be tuned in. And you said 44 applicants currently.
Yes.
And then, so there's a space for about 36 more. I know you said about 80 is the cap. And then, do you have a special set aside at all for seniors, or is that just in the 80, the number itself?
Great question. We didn't do any set asides.
Okay.
It's not geographically focused outside. It's just the city of Cleveland.
Okay.
We're not focusing on a
Have
certain
to be a
neighborhood.
homeowner in the city of Cleveland.
Yep, homeowner in the city of Cleveland. Of course, we are encouraging our seniors to apply for the funding, but we know that, there is some fixed income challenges there.
Sure.
But, a lot of seniors do want to age in place, so we are making it attractive to them as well.
Yeah.
It's like I say, I want to say Harvard Community CDC, they have been very instrumental in working with their seniors because, in the Lee Harvard area, there are a lot of seniors in the area wanting to age in place.
Yes.
So we have residents from all over that are applying. Nothing really set aside, but encouraging all homeowners who need and have had delayed or deferred maintenance to check out Renew 216. Very good product, and we're excited.
It says
to have launched
0% interest on the loan.
0%
So
interest. Absolutely.
that is a great product. You can't walk into a bank and get 0% interest. So again, this is that kind of public-private partnerships and community partnerships that allow people to bring products like that to the table for people to take advantage of at an affordable cost as you're looking to make those home repairs. So can you also tell us a little bit about, I know you mentioned early on in your introduction, you're talking about generational wealth, generational, home ownership. And that's definitely one thing as Realtist organization that we're focused on, especially in our Black and low and moderate income communities, is to make sure that people understand the value of housing. On our last podcast, Stuart Title, one of our partners, we touched a little bit on Title's role in ensuring generational transfer of property. And I'm talking about heirs property, et cetera. And so what is LISC doing around that, and what program you have to really help a major issue in our communities around keeping and holding on to your property that maybe grandma had or your mom had?
Absolutely. So LISC nationally, we have a heirs property program. It's a program that was highly recognized in our Jacksonville market, and they have done very good around the marketing and able to show the impact that we've been able to make with solving heirs property issues there. so much so that we've introduced it to other markets. And Cleveland market is one of the ones that it was introduced in earlier this year. We launched a heirs property program in collaboration with Case Western Reserve University through their Kramer Law Clinic. And our goal was to assist 125 individuals, families with estate planning,
Okay.
and address 25 tangled titles. So we know that with heirs property is when you inherit property from grandma, mom, they've passed on, you still have siblings, cousins, aunts,
Right.
uncles
Everybody.
staying in the
Yeah.
home,
Right.
but the home is not properly deeded,
Yeah.
properly titled.
Yeah.
They're just staying there, hopefully they're keeping up on the taxes, but sometimes
Sure.
they're not keeping on the taxes.
Or they don't even know about that.
They don't
They
even
didn't
know.
know.
Absolutely. So we have launched our program to try to provide community awareness around heirs property, what it is, how it exists, and be able to provide resources for them to help mitigate those heirs property issues.
Sure.
We are building a ecosystem of partners around that. Again, we're engaging our CDC partners, we're engaging our legal representation partners, and most recently we contracted with Case Western Reserve on the side, their poverty center, to do a research on where does heirs concentrate at in the city of Cleveland.
Okay.
So we are looking to
That's going to
have
be very interesting research.
excited to see the
Can't
numbers.
wait to see that. Yes.
Because I think Fannie Mae may have did something a few years ago and said that there were like 9,000 heirs property issues in Ohio, but just to see it on paper, the clusters of it and where it's concentrated at, the maps, we're excited to see that. So we're building that out, like I say, with the Case Poverty research team. Sure. We should have that data sometime first, second quarter of 2026. And then we'll be working to build a robust intervention plan to be able to address some of those issues. So again, we're going to be, out in a community trying to build these partnerships, sure, seek funding so we are able to address these issues. So, there's more to come on that. But to date, with the partnership that we currently have with Case Western Reserve University, they have been able to address 180 estate planning cases for individuals countywide. Okay.
So that's not Cleveland specific. They're reaching Cuyahoga County.
Absolutely.
And I think that is important because a lot of our inner ring suburbs are experiencing some of the same things. Your Maple Heights and Shaker Heights, Cleveland Heights, and things like that. I think when it comes to that specific issue, we can see that it's widespread. I know we focus a lot on Cleveland, and we need to, but at the same time, some of those issues are definitely showing up in our inner ring suburbs as well. So county assessment.
Yeah, we've been trying to work with our like you say, outlining suburbs to get the awareness there as well. Yeah, it's an issue. It is, and it's an issue that if we are able to provide the education around it, the more people that know about it, then we're able to address the issue. For sure. And they're able to, get the resources that they need when they're in those issues, having those issues. So it's been a great pilot program. Tangled titles, we've had some success. I think right now we have like 6 cases that we're actively working. That case is actively working. And we're excited to see the outcome of those because, it makes a difference. 6 will definitely make a difference with, the number that's out there. So we have to start somewhere. So again, it ties hand in hand with the resources that you're able to qualify for. If you do not have a title that's deeded to you, you're not able to qualify for the home repair dollars,
Yeah.
for the weatherization dollars, for the
Yes.
support around, issues if you have lead. So, our heirs property program and our home repair program, they tie hand in hand.
Hand in hand,
Yeah.
for sure, because clear title ensures that you have all of the rights and ability to partake in programming. Because a lot of times homes, to your point, participating in your repair program, you can't, because if you don't know who are we supposed to be contacting, who's supposed to be on this loan, who's supposed to be, on that, we don't know. And so therefore we can't help you. And so that house sits there and in need of repair. And so again, that becomes an issue in the community and just the housing stock in general. But I know you mentioned Case, your partnership, and you all have the heirs property project going on. How do people get more information? Who do they call? Who do they contact? Is that you, to get them started in that process to say, hey, I want to have my house take a look at?
Absolutely. So, being the senior program officer for housing, I always want to be the face of the programming that we do provide. But we are not the program providers. We are like the intermediary that pass through the funding.
Sure.
So we partner with, like I say, organizations like Case and Cleveland Housing Partners. If you need information around the heirs property, you can always look on our Cleveland LISC page. Contact me. But this program is actually administered by Case Western Reserve Kramer Law Clinic.
Okay.
But if anyone is unable to get the assistance there, they can always reach out to me at LISC Cleveland, and I can make sure I can pair them with, resources for either heirs, or home repair.
Okay, perfect. Y'all heard what to do. So, just in your programming, what are some of the top issues or most common issues that you see that are occurring with kind of the heirs property? Is it, I'll let you speak to it. So just some of the common things that people who are listening will say, okay, that kind of sounds like what I'm going through. I didn't even know that. So like, what are some of the issues that you're seeing that are most common?
So because we're not the direct service provider, I would say that based off of reporting and conversations and check-ins that we have, a lot of people are inquiring about what heirs property is because they silently have that issue, but they're afraid that taking advantage of the resources could potentially put them in a displacement status. So that's why we have been trying to be more intentional with the partnerships that we build behind the programming, like working with our CDCs, because they are the individuals that the community trusts. So when the community see that you have a Burton Bell car, you have a Fairfax, you have a East End neighborhood or a New Point behind you, then they're more open to communicating with their CDC partners. Making sure that this programming is going to do what it's saying that it's going to do. So it's a silent threat in the community. But again, the more that we're able to educate the community and make them aware of what heirs property is, I think the outcomes of heirs property continuing to be as bad as it is, it will get better.
Yeah, for sure. Because we know that our community is high volume for investors. It is a major issue. I don't know if you recently saw, I think, the Cleveland Federal Reserve Bank of Cleveland released a research report on investor-owned property activity in several counties, Cuyahoga County being one of them, from, I believe, 2018 to 2024. And the map that they shared with us, they came and spoke to the realtors recently. It's not surprising. You probably could lay it right over the redlining map and kind of see where the activity and clusters are. And I would be interested to see kind of when your research is done around Case, like if you layer that map on top of that, like where's the cluster of the heirs property, where are the cluster of investors buying properties. I'm sure it probably wouldn't be surprising, but just to that point, not being able to have clear title opens you up and subjects you to investors coming in who not all investors are bad, but some can be predatory, and get the home from up under you to then try to maybe hold it or rehab and resell it at a unaffordable price in that community as such.
Mm-hmm.
So the work that you all are doing is great and it speaks volumes to the issue, showing that you're connected to what's going on in the community as well. So again, thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We I think there's been a lot of buzz around our Cleveland Housing Investment Fund. Also, it's a $100 million fund that we're definitely looking to leverage to create 2,500 to 3,000 affordable units throughout the city of Cleveland. It's a great fund.
Yes.
We know that there's a shortage of housing,
Sure.
a shortage of affordable housing.
Affordable, yes.
So, the price of, housing has escalated. There's a shortage of, houses under $150,000
that was unheard of in
family
Cleveland.
could live in, a
Yeah.
family of 3, a
Yeah.
family of 4.
Yeah.
So we've designed this fund in collaboration with the city and Key Bank as well to try to build more affordable housing for City of Cleveland residents, seniors,
Yeah.
families. So we're excited about that as well. We launched. We had a groundbreaking for our first loan. It's a senior building, 52 units.
Okay.
In the Metro West service area. So excited to see, that
That's great.
coming to fruition. They're excited. The community is excited. So hopefully we'll be able to see the fruits of that labor up and, coming,
Yeah.
months.
Yeah, for sure. I know the you all came and spoke at our realtors meeting around the Cleveland House Investment Fund. Packed room, a lot of information. And I know that a part of that program is looking to get with kind of emerging developers or people who are community focused to get those funding or that funding to them, just for the sake of knowing that they know what the community needs are, and then understanding that a lot of times some projects do not get funded because you don't have the resume per se of history of development, but you all are trying to meet people in the gap and say, not only do we need this affordable housing, but for folks who have ideas that need to get off the ground that the community supports and will benefit from, you all are kind of stepping in and saying, we want projects like that. So just from an outlook perspective, what are some of the projects you're hoping kind of meets the needs of the community or that you all can kind of fund?
So there is buzz around the lack of inventory for multifamily. And when I say multifamily, I'm saying
Like intergenerational?
intergenerational. I say, 2 units up
Yes.
to,
Yes.
let's say, about 10 to 12 units.
Yeah. Something's on the smaller scale.
Something on a smaller scale. When you're looking at development, you do have to have the capital stack behind being able to develop.
Sure.
So I think the idea behind our emerging developer piece is to be able to work with developers who, on a much smaller scale, to be able to guide them through the process of, being a developer. I mean, you have to start somewhere.
Yeah, you do.
People can, have, single family homes, 1, 2, or 3 flip homes, but it's a totally different process when you're looking to actually do new construction
Yes.
and build. A lot of the emerging developers that, we have seen come through different cohorts, they don't have the financial capacity or the financial backing to be able to, really enter into the development space. So a lot of the projects that they pencil can't move forward because they don't have the proper performers, the proper balance sheets, and the financials to be able to move the project forward. So we're trying to collaborate and build that ecosystem of partners around making sure that the developers are really ready to develop and have
Yeah.
the resources that they need to be able to develop. But in terms of what we would like to see, I would say, more duplex style homes, more single family homes. But at the end of the day, we want a product that's affordable for, not only for purchase, but also for someone who doesn't really want to purchase to be able to rent.
Sure.
So, everybody is not, designed to be a homeowner.
Yes.
There's a lot that comes with owning a home.
It does.
So if we have inventory that can balance out both being a renter and being a homeowner, I think that's great. But the key thing that's going to drive that is the cost.
Yes.
The economy is, it's a different, it's a different day. It's a different time, and wages aren't wages what they used to be.
Yeah.
The
prices have gone up. Wages have not.
Wages have not gone, but the
Listen.
prices. Eggs are $7. I never knew that eggs cost that much.
I'm crying over blueberries. I'm like, I can't even have a blueberry right now because it's too much. But you do think about those things, and just to your point of two family, that's kind of the model my family used to journey into homeownership. My mother didn't own, but my uncle bought a 2-family house in the Larchmere neighborhood. My grandmother lived in the lower unit. So I saw that model coming up. I'm like, we can split the note. It's way cheaper than going out here on your own and doing it. So then when it was my turn to purchase, I bought a 2-family house in Shaker. I have one unit. My mom has another unit. I have a sister. When I'm ready to leave the home, she can move in. But the ownership can stay into the family, and that home is paid off. But you're literally helping yourself have affordable housing because your family, and you can split the note. However y'all want to work it. That's what we do,
right?
But however y'all want to work it, split it out. And so to your point, people aren't leaving home as quickly as they were back in the day because things are not affordable. Children are going to college or getting jobs and staying home, or coming back from college and staying home. The new age of people buying homes, first-time homeowners, is 40 years old, the average age. And that is the oldest it's ever been. So people are not buying, one, because of affordability, and two, family structure, right? People aren't having families as sooner as they did in previous generations. So getting into a 2-family or building more kind of multi-family on a smaller scale housing is probably what is needed, not only to serve the demographics and how our generation is living, or generations coming up, I should say, are living, but also just to help keep things affordable. So I completely agree with you. Like, we need to think about the way we're building housing. We need to think about the long-term impacts of the housing that we are building. I think we're living kind of in between that generation of, okay, they built all this housing in the 50s, 60s, 70s, population decline, and now we have blight. I mean, that's been happening in the inner city and things like that, but we don't have the population, especially in like Cuyahoga County, to keep up all of this housing as well. And so now it needs to be replaced, but that's costly to tear down housing and do all those types of things. So I think, again, programming that you have, kind of trying to meet that gap of repair, right? Because it's either, development or buy an existing property, but it's like, okay, for that property that exists and is lived in, people need dollars to repair. And then also, as we're talking about development, should we continue to build single family housing? That's a whole nother discussion we can get into another time, but it's just to that point. So yeah, to your point of what you would like to see, I'm completely in agreement with you there.
One thing I would add to that, it's not a bad thing to, build housing. It's not a bad thing to, buy pre-existing homes. I think the most important part of all of that is knowing post and pre what it takes to be a homeowner.
Yes.
A lot of us, want to live the American dream of owning a home and having that family, but we don't know what we need to do to be able to keep that home in the family. Exactly. So that's why LISC Cleveland is, very intentional of our heirs programming, making sure that, we're putting those resources in the community, providing that awareness around what you need to do to keep your property in your family so you can continue the cycle of generational wealth. It's huge.
Yes.
It's huge.
It is.
And I never really knew the prevalence of the issue until I started working with LISC Cleveland and doing the research behind it. It's an issue. It's a silent threat. And if we don't put and pool our resources to be able to educate the community, it's going to continue to grow. So excited, like I say, that we've launched it. We're looking to scale that body of work, create additional partnerships, build our ecosystem of partners out, and be able to, have an impact on being able to, continue to assist with creating generational wealth.
Yeah, and that's why we're here on the podcast to educate, right? We're here to educate, bring people like yourself to the conversation around what is needed so people can have more of an awareness. And kind of to the point you made earlier around people not really, not knowing what heirs property is, but also the kind of fear of displacement. And knowing like, okay, well, if I'm in, grandma's house with my sister, kind of supposed to be the one over, like what's going to happen to me if people get into what's going on here. But like you said, partnering with community organizations and people that people trust to walk them through. No one's trying to take the home out of your family, but you need to make sure that you have clear title and it's cared for in a way that you all can benefit from the generational wealth that your previous family member was able to leave to you. Because again, if you don't have that in order, you can't apply for a loan to get the work done and things like that. And so, so just kind of to your point, like it's very important to educate and to continue to have these conversations. And they are tough conversations to have. And for people who currently own property, right? Estate planning, thinking about what you're going to do to transfer that property. And we talked about that a little bit before. People don't like having that conversation. And so, unfortunately we all leave here and then it's like, well, what do we do?
It's a tough conversation to have, but you definitely need to make sure that you have your end of life planning documents in place. Whether it's, a simple will, a living will, transfer on death affidavits, you have to make sure that you have your end of life planning documents in place. And one thing I would ask people to put on their New Year's resolution list is to check your deed.
Yes.
Make sure your deed is still in your name.
Yes, absolutely. Things happen, guys. So make sure you check that deed. And like just this time of year, one thing just kind of in business that I've always been told or kind of lived by is like this is the season of planning, kind of those winter months. So when you come out in the spring, you're able to hit the ground running, things like that. So this is the time things slow down, time for you to review. We're going into the new year, make goals, resolutions, stuff like that. Getting connected with Miss Chanel, giving her a call to say, hey, I heard about you on the podcast. I want to get connected. How can you all help me? What can I do? Because it is important to sit and begin to plan, even for those short-term things, to your point, like checking your deed. And then for people who aren't currently homeowners, right? Like saying, okay, I know I'm in this rental situation. What resources or things do I need? We have Third Federal, who is our partner and sponsor for the Security Deed podcast. They have a Home Today program where you can go for free and start getting into home buying classes so you can understand and start your home buyer journey. But at the same time, you may want to begin to think about, even then, if you're a renter, like, what do I need to get in order, And so when you do become a homeowner, you already have someone that you can talk to about estate planning and stuff like that. So This is the season to really slow down and start planning and thinking about what's coming up for the next year.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Is there anything else you would like to say to the people about LISC and how they can engage with you and what programming you have for renters and or people who are currently home buyers or homeowners?
Absolutely. Check us out, follow us on LinkedIn. Our Facebook is LISC Cleveland. I am, again, Chanel Starks. I can be reached at cstarks@lisc.org. If you have any, questions around our heirs property program, around home repair. If you want to just get information, if you're a developer, if you're an emerging developer, if you need information around our housing investment fund, I can get you over to, our team that, works at the Cleveland office that handles that. There is a lot that LISC does. I will encourage everyone to look on our website.
Yes.
Look at the organization nationally. It's so many pillars of work that we support and so many resources. So definitely check out LISC Cleveland. But, if you have the opportunity, check out, our national LISC page as well. So you can, really see the impact that our organization have on the communities in which we serve.
All right. Now, y'all heard Ms. Chanel, so check them out. Remember, Renew 216, 0% interest loan through LISC Cleveland. So if you think you qualify, make sure you check out the resources on the link in this podcast. And I hope you have a happy new year. Thank you, Ms. Chanel, for joining us. We appreciate you, Ms. Chanel Starks. And that is us signing off of Secure the Deed. Have a good one.